live from a water-damaged basement in Prince George's County, Maryland. It's time for our 10th edition of our social distancing concerts. How are you doing? I hope you're well. I have a feeling I know how you're doing to a certain degree because it's been a really tragic week in our country. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the elephant in the room before we got started here and talk about what's happened this week. Of course, I'm talking about the heinous murder, the heinous killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. And a lot has been said on social media over the last week, some of it eloquent, some of it not. I've been largely silent publicly about it because I just don't think that social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, is really my medium. I'm not great at it. I don't know how to express myself in a nuanced way. But I did think, my medium is songwriting, and I did think that I could take the opportunity at the top of this show to play a couple songs in memory and in honor of George Floyd and his leaving this mortal coil before his time in an absolutely tragic and malevolent way. So I'd like to dedicate these few first songs of mine to George Floyd, and then we'll start the show in earnest, and I'll play a couple covers that I love. Across from the prison and beside the Great Lake, below the rooftops and above the highway, the spirits peer rent on the basements they haunt, and the painters just draw pictures of the things that they want. I cook my dinner on the blacktop street. I come from the nation of heat. Outside the train station there's a bold painted sign. It says, try to be patient, don't forget to choose sides. We got the loudest explosions you ever heard. We got $2 soldiers and $10 words. If I didn't own boots, I wouldn't need feet. I come from the nation of heat. So swift and so vicious are the carnival rides. And the carnival barker will hear your name for a bribe. We got billboards full of love and Japanese cars. It ain't rare to hear the streetlights call themselves stars. The more that I learn, the more that I cheat. I come from the nation of heat. I've seen skeleton mothers and hungry folks across the street from the kitchens that cook dinner the most. Sometimes you hear whispers by the dark of the moon. Yet we promised too much and gave it too soon. Even our coughs and our fevers compete. I come from the nation of heat. Blocking borders with smiles, our immigrant sons.
We measure loneliness in miles and misery in times. There's a straw-headed man rowing away from the shore. He says it's a shame they don't let you have slaves here anymore. I'm the ugliest man that surely for me I'd come from the nation of you.
Thank you. If you're just joining us right now, this is the Social Distancing Concert number 10, and I do intend to play a bunch of covers tonight of songs that I love and wish that I had written, but these first couple songs I'm just going to play of my own as in honor of George Floyd. So let me play one more for him here. Well, I knew I was going to play that first one for him, and I thought a lot about what the second one should be, and this is what I landed on.
I was born into a circus, but I ran off to join a home. Oh, they said that I was worthless, that my family died unknown. So it gets and so it goes, it's what you get, I suppose, for wanting something more than a life of walking ropes. There's a butler in your hallway. He is troublesome and old. He repeats the word alive to describe your family gold. You ask him please to go, but there's one thing you don't know. He carved April 7th, 65 into the side of your piano. Oh, I know how good you are, how hard it is, how good you are. There's a butler in your hallway. He is troublesome and old. He repeats the word alive to describe your family gold. You ask him please to go. There's one thing you don't know. He carved April 7th, 65 into the side of your piano. Oh, I know how good you are, how hard it is, how good you are. Everything that you were meant for, everything that you were born to do, does not need you to do it. Someone else was born to do it too. Like a half-grown man you barely learn how to stand. If you shut up with what you're choosing, you hear something choosing you. Oh, I know how good you are, how hard it is, how good you are.
Okay, well, those two were for George Floyd. May he rest in peace, and may we as a country atone for the way that he died. Let's start the show now. Let's play. Here's what we're going to do. First of all, tell me where you're watching from tonight. I want to see, let me know where you're calling in from tonight. Also, I want to look at my phone and make sure that I don't have any texts from my mom and telling me it sounds terrible. No, it sounds fine. That's good. Where's everyone calling in from here? Okay. John Staff's in Brooklyn. What's up, John? How you doing? I know you. Hayden's in Boone. Right on. Carrie is in Denver. Hey, Lauren, you're not too far away from me. You're right next to Prince George's County, Maryland. Is your basement flood damaged as well? ATL, Chapel Hill. Okay, very, here's it first. Osceola, Arkansas. I bet you are watching this online because I've definitely never played a gig in Osceola, and I probably definitely never will. Unless you pay me a bunch of money, I'll go anywhere for money. Just a few more here. Let's see. Calgary, all right. Okie from Muskogee calling in, all right. Perth, 2 a.m. Michael McNabb in Perth, Scotland at 2 a.m. I can only imagine how drunk you are. My gosh. All right. And Will is in Brisbane, Australia. All right. Well, spanning the globe. I'm going to play some covers for you guys now. These are songs that I hold in high regard that I wish that I'd written. And the first one I want to play for you is by the man himself, Josh Ritter. When I was first coming up 10 years ago, and even now, this remains to be the case, but when I was first coming up 10 years ago, Josh was the guy that I wanted to be, that I wanted to emulate myself after I got to tour with him a little bit and open for him and learned about how he did things. And I've always loved Josh so much. And so this is my favorite. This is by far my favorite Josh Ritter song.
Radio waves are coming miles and miles, bringing only empty boats. Whatever feeling they had when they sailed somehow slipped out between the notes. Out on the desert now and I'm feeling lost. The bonnet wears a wire albatross, monster ballads and the stations of the cross, sighing just a little bit, sighing just a little bit. And I was thinking about what Katie done, thinking about what Katie did, the youngest daughter of the Pharaoh's son, dressed in gold 'neath pyramids. Out on the desert now and I'm feeling lost. The bonnet wears a wire albatross, monster ballads in the stations of the cross, sighing just a little bit, sighing just a little bit. Ones and zeros bringing mason noise. When you're empty, there's so much space for them. And turn it off so still small voice comes in blazing from the vast horizon. I was thinking about my river days, I was thinking about me and Jim, off Cairo on our getaway, with every steamboat like a hymn. But on the desert now and I'm feeling lost. The bonnet wears a wire albatross, monster ballads in the stations of the cross, sighing just a little bit, sighing just a little bit. That's the man, Josh Ritter, a guy that I still try to learn stuff from, but that I definitely tried to learn stuff from when I was first getting started. And a guy that he learned a lot from sitting at the feet of and touring with and listening to was John Prine, rest his soul. The late, great John Prine. Can't believe we have to say it that way. So I'd love to play a couple John Prine songs. It's a cover show. I'm not just going to cover one John Prine song. Come on, man. That would be way below the quota for a John Prine song in this case. You know, obviously, my favorite John Prine record is that first eponymous one, John Prine, where he's sitting on the hay bale. You know, it's just such a killer record. He did so well out of the gates that how was he ever supposed to top that, you know? But the other record that I love the most by him, it was his second album called Diamonds in the Rough. And I think this song is on there, but this is something that doesn't happen anymore. That record, the CD was just in my truck when I was like 20. And since it was like the only CD in there, I listened to it like a million times. That's not the case anymore. That could never happen anymore. I only listen to things that I feel like listening to in that moment. But there was something really beautiful about just listening to this album over and over and over again. I'm pretty sure this song was on it. Anyway, I know this one by heart. This one's for you, John, with your cigarette that's 9 miles long up there. Oh, no, it's too low. Hold on. All the snow is turned to water. Christmas Day has come and gone. Broken toys and faded colors are all that's left to linger on. I hate graveyards and old pawn shops. Find they always bring me tears. Can't forgive the way they rob me of my childhood souvenirs. Memories that can't be bought, can't be won at the carnival for free. It took me years to get those souvenirs, and I don't know when they slipped away from me. Broken hearts and dirty windows make life difficult to see. That's why last night and this morning always look the same to me. I hate reading old love letters. I find they always bring me tears. I can't forgive the way they rob me of my sweetheart's souvenirs. memories that can't be bought, can't be won at the carnival for free. Well, it took me years to get those souvenirs, and I don't know how they slipped away from me. It's a hell of a song, man. If you can write one like that, you got it going on. And he wrote about 24 that are like that one, which is just unbelievable. Here, let's play another John Prine song. This one I love. He had such a humor to his songs that you just don't hear with songwriters anymore these days. And this one it's not like laugh out loud funny. It's just, you could almost, I never knew the guy, but you could just hear him telling you the story. Grandpa wore a suit to dinner nearly every day. No particular reason, he just dressed that way. Brown necktie, matching vest, both his wingtip shoes. Built a closet on the back porch, put a penny in a burned out fuse. Grandpa was a carpenter, he built houses, stores, and banks. Chain smoked Camels, cigarettes, hammered nails and planks. He was a level on the level, I shaved even every door. Voted for Eisenhower, 'cause Lincoln won the war. He used to sing me blood on the saddle and rock me on his knee. Let me listen to the radio before we got TV. Well, he'd drive to church on Sunday and he'd take me with him too. Stained glass in every window, hearing aids in every pew. Grandpa was a carpenter, he built houses, stores, and banks. Chain smoked Camels, cigarettes, hammered nails and planks. He was a level on the level, I shaved even every door. Voted for Eisenhower, 'cause Lincoln won the war. Well, my grandma was a teacher, went to school in Bowling Green. Traded in her milking cow for a singer's sewing machine. Well, she called her husband Mister, and she walked real tall in pride. Used to buy me comic books after Grandpa died. Grandpa was a carpenter, he built houses, stores, and banks. Chain smoked Camels, cigarettes, hammered nails and planks. He was a level on the level, I shaved even every door. Voted for Eisenhower, 'cause Lincoln won the war. Man, he was an original, man. Take a drink for John Prine if you're drinking something right now. Especially you, who is it? Daniel McNabb in Perth, Scotland, 2 a.m. You definitely have to drink something for him, man. We know you're not sober. Well, in my household recently, we've been playing a lot of this next album. My wife and I, the person that we've seen in concert the most is Lucinda Williams. We've seen her a bunch of times because we love her. And recently in our household, up for breakfast, she's been putting this album, Car Wheels on a Gravel Road, on the stereo. And we've been bumping it. It's such a great album, man. Such a wonderful album. I mean, I know it's like her... It is her iconic album, so it's no surprise to say that. But if you haven't listened to it in a while, go back and listen to it. And if for some reason you haven't listened to it at all, Car Wheels on a Gravel Road, Lucinda Williams. So this is my favorite song off that album, and probably a lot of people's favorite song off that album. Let me get a different harp for this. Well, we got a special guest coming up soon, so dig this song, but also stay tuned for our special guest coming in. All the way to Jackson. I don't think I'll miss you much. All the way to Jackson, I don't think I'll miss you much. Once I get to Lafayette, I won't mind one little bit. Once I get to Lafayette, I won't mind one little bit. Once I get to Baton Rouge, I won't cry a tear for you. Once I get to Baton Rouge, I won't cry one tear for you. Once I get to Vicksburg, I won't even feel an urge. Once I get to Vicksburg, I won't even feel an urge. All the way to Jackson, I don't think I'll miss you much. All the way to Jackson, I don't think I'll miss you much.
Lucinda, going in for the kill with that one. That song and that album, one time when I was touring with Steve Earle and I was in my mid-20s, I had just fallen in love with that album, even though it was kind of a catalog album for her at the time. And I was on the bus with Steve because he was nice enough to let me ride along because I was broke at the time. And I said to Steve, man, I was such an idiot, man. I said to Steve, I was like, hey, Steve, I found this really great new album. Do you know about Lucinda Williams' album, Car Wheels on a Gravel Road? And he got really silent and he looked at me like I was trying to clown him or something. And then he could see that I was just an idiot and had no, malice behind it. And he was like, man, I produced that damn album, man. Are you an idiot? So Steve produced that album. In fairness to me, he produced it under the moniker of E Squared with another producer. So, looking through the liner notes, I just didn't notice it. So let's play a Steve Earle song. This is a song that I learned studying at his feet, touring with him for many years. This is my favorite Steve Earle song and probably many people's favorite Steve Earle song.
Yes, when every ray of hope was gone, I should have known you'd come along. I don't know why I ever doubted you, my old friend the blue. Another lonely night in this old town. Sleep don't get me first, you'll come around. I know I can always count on you, my old friend the blues. 'cause lovers leaving friends let you down, and you're the only sure thing I've found. No matter where I get, I never lose my old friend the blues. Lovers leaving friends let you down, and you're the only sure thing that I've found. No matter where I get, I never lose my old friend the blues. Just let me lay my weary head on you, my old friend the blues.
Steve Earle, Swinging for the Fences. For my money, it's one of the best American songs ever written. You guys, speaking of great American songs that have been written, we have a very special guest waiting in the wings. Old friend of mine, a dude who has a killer new album out right now, and a guy who I want to talk to about some covers he's done in his life. So please welcome to the show, all the way from Reidsville, North Carolina, from American Aquarium, Mr. BJ Barham.
What's up, dude? Hey, man.
How you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there. Can't complain about anything.
Yeah, man. Same here. Listen, tonight's show that I'm doing is all about covers. Did you have a period in your life where, did you ever do the thing before you started writing your own songs where you would do the cover gig playing for like 3 hours at all? Was that you?
That wasn't me.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends who went that path.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't go down that path was because I watched them go down that path, and the money was so good playing covers that they never wanted to go play their originals.
That's it, man.
And they kind of got, and it was crazy because they looked up and all of a sudden they were like 5 years in, and that's 5 years they could have applied to their own craft and their own building. And instead they were just taking the money. So here they are 5 years later, and they're stuck in, some Irish pub playing Jesse's Girl.
Yeah.
And they're watching the other people that focused on their craft, doing their own thing and actually taking those next steps up the ladder.
Definitely, dude. That is some, what would you call that? Yeah, that's getting addicted to the opium of the money of bar gigs, which you can't.
Yeah, and it sucks because like when you start out baseline, you watch them get paid $300, $400, $500 a night, and you're making literally like $7 in tips and a basket of chicken fingers for playing your originals.
Totally.
But then when you fast forward 5 years, they're still getting paid that money to play fucking Brown Eyed Girl for a $20 tip, and you're playing in front of 50 people, then 100 people, then 200 people. Totally. And so, I think you have to make a decision early on, like what side am I going to be? A guy who does it part-time and makes money doing it, or am I going to completely deep dive into being an original artist?
Totally, man. Do you find though, I kind of went a similar route myself. Do you find though, as you get older, I've found recently, like I used to never want to play covers in my shows because I'm like, I'm a songwriter, man. People want to hear my song. And do you find now that I'm older, like, and I think about constructing shows, I'm so much more comfortable putting a cover in the middle of a show. And I think I think once you're more comfortable and more secure, I guess not with your manhood, but with your songwriterhood.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself doing that more now that you're older?
When it becomes a choice and not a necessity, I think it's completely okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have to throw a cover into an original set because their songs aren't there yet. And I'm not saying that as a slight. I'm saying that as when you start off, unless you're fucking John Prine or Guy Clark, you never come out of the gate with a debut fucking album.
Right.
Or unless you're Joe Pug and you come out with Nation of Heat EP and completely.
But then it took me a long time to get some songs after that, so it all balanced out in the end.
Again, you're still an example of the unicorn that comes out of the gate with the greatest thing I've ever heard. is I remember like where I was when I heard John Prine. I remember where I was when I heard Guy Clark, but I specifically remember where I was when I first heard Nation of Heat, because I was at the show watching you play it and being like, who the fuck is this guy?
Drunk at the Lincoln Theater.
Drunk at the Lincoln Theater. But I listened to it sober the next day and still love the song. So, but when we first started, you had to have that cover that you went to, right, because you'd hit that kind of slump in the middle of the set where you needed to reel them back in. And how else are you going to reel them back in? Throw like a Whiskey Town song in there, throw a Steve Earle song in there. Totally. And give them like, this is what I'm aspiring to be. This is what I want my songs to be. This is what made me start writing songs. And then now you get to kind of go for those deep cut of your favorite artist that you get to put in and kind of make your own. Like my goal with the cover is I want for 20% of the crowd to get it.
Right.
I want 20% of the crowd to be like, oh, wow, that's a good cover. And because the rest of the crowd's like, wait, is this an original? Is this a cover? Like, why are we not in on the secret?
So what you're saying is you want like 20% of the crowd to be like, I cannot believe he covered Papa Roach.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking more of the Disturbed catalog that we do on a regular basis. But yeah,
well, brother, talk to me a little bit about you have released an awesome album produced by Shooter Jennings in the age of coronavirus. It's seen a ton of success. Talk to me about what that's been like. It seems like it's been super successful. And at the same time, I know it's really challenging to not be able to go out and follow up on that success on the road. Talk to me about what it's been like to release Lamentations.
Yeah, in the past, when you release a record, the way you kind of track that metric of if the record was getting to people was you would see the numbers going up on tour. You'd see more people coming to the show. Right. And so we don't have that metric anymore. And then when you're going into releasing a record, there's no handbook for putting a record out in the middle of a pandemic. Which I use, I think, as to my advantage, because when the rules get thrown out the window, then it's just guy versus guy, and it's like who's gonna come up with new ways to push their record, who's gonna come up with new ways to promote records. And we're very, very fortunate after 15 years to have a pretty grassroots fan base. Yeah. So we knew going into the release that we had a great amount of pre-orders, and we had a lot of people talking about the record already. So when it came time, mid-March, when a lot of people are making that decision to push the record or still put it out, we decided that why not continue to put it out? We'd already built this momentum since December, and people needed people are hungry for music right now. They need that distraction from the chaos that's going on outside of everyone's door. And so why wait until September when everyone else and their mother are going to be putting out records, and I don't care how great your record is. If you put a record out in the fall, it's going to get cannibalized by every other record that's coming out in the fall by the legends and the really new kids that have cooked magic during this. Yes. And so we looked at it. We had a date May 1st, and the only other giant band that was putting out a record that day was the Dixie Chicks. Mm-hmm. And the Dixie Chicks pushed back. And so we're left with, okay, you can either push back or you can put out a record by yourself in the Americana realm, the country realm. And the only record we had to go up against was Kenny Chesney. Yeah. And so we finished number 2 on the Billboard Country charts, number 2 on the Billboard Rock charts, and number 1 on the Billboard Americana charts because we didn't push.
Well, and you and I talked about this on the phone in private recently. It's the other reason that it was number 2 is over the course of 15 years, I was wondering how many people you had personally shook the hand of who bought a record. And, we were joking around. It's like, man, like 90 to 95% of these people, you've probably literally shook their hands because you've just put, you've put your ass in a car seat or a van seat and driven across the country and brought the music to these folks.
Yeah, it's funny because it's, there's a lot of people like Kenny Chesney finished. Well, we sold, I think, right at 8,000 copies first week. Mm-hmm. For an independent band, for those out there that don't understand those numbers, that's a solid number. Kenny Chesney sold 224,000 copies of his record, and it's because he did a summertime ticket bundle. So anybody that bought tickets to see him this summer got a free record. Yeah. And then after his record came out on Friday, that Monday he canceled the tour.
Screwed again by Kenny Chesney.
So Forbes magazine wrote this really great piece about how Kenny Chesney completely manipulated the system and screwed Drake out of the overall #1 record. But they didn't mention they screwed the tiny Americana band from Raleigh out of the #1 country record in the country.
Seems notable.
But yeah, I've seen people push, and I think it was the right choice. Like when you're the Dixie Chicks and you have millions of dollars in marketing and radio ads, you can't gamble.
No.
But when you're a band like us who kind of self-funded their record through their fans with a pre-order and everything's already paid for, why not roll those dice and gamble on the fact that everyone else is pushing? You might be able to corner the market for 1 week.
Yeah.
And for us, we got a lot of really great press leading into it. And that first week was a really, really great week for us. It sold 40% more copies. This new record that came out in the middle of a pandemic sold 40% more copies than our 2018 record when there was no pandemic.
Well, that's great stuff, man. I'm so happy. It's been an awesome thing to watch. And yeah, man, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on with us and saying hello to our people here tonight. And
dude,
I'll talk to you soon, BJ.
Thanks for having me. Keep the covers coming, man.
Yeah, brother. Talk to you soon. Thanks,
See you,
BJ.
bro.
All right. That was BJ. Let me play a few more covers for you guys, and then we'll do a Soft Boy Poem Corner, and then we'll take a few requests, and then we'll call it a night. This is a song off the best breakup album of all time, in my opinion. It's off Beck's Sea Change album.
Sorry eyes cut through bone, make it hard to leave you alone. Coming back now, wearing your wounds, waving your guns, somebody new. Maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm lost cause all these people you used to know, they see you coming, they see you go. Know your secrets, and you know theirs. This town is crazy, nobody cares. Maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm lost cause tired of fighting, I'm tired of fighting, fighting for a lost cause. There's a place where you are going, you ain't never been before. No one laughing at your back now, no one knocking at your door. Is that what you thought love was for? Maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm lost cause I'm tired of fighting, I'm tired of fighting, fighting for a lost cause.
Lost Cause off Beck's album Sea Change, the best breakup album of all time for my money. Okay, this is the last cover I'm going to do, and believe me, I've noticed in the comments over the last 4 or 5 weeks that the song that gets requested the most, it's probably the freebird of the social distancing concerts, has been Bruce Springsteen's Downbound Train. And I'm going to try and do it some justice. I normally do this on piano. That's not an option for me tonight, so I'm going to try and close out our social distancing concert on covers with the freebird of all these little sessions we've been doing. This one's for you, Pete.
I had a job, I had a girl, had something going, mister, in this world. I got laid off down at the lumber yard. Our love went bad, times got hard. I worked down at the car wash, where all it ever does is rain. Don't it feel like you're riding on a downbound train? She just said, Joe, I gotta go. We had it once, we ain't got it anymore. She packed her bags, left me behind. She bought a ticket on that Central line. Nights as I sleep, I hear that whistle whining. Feel a kiss in the misty rain. And I feel like I'm a rider on a downbound train. Last night I heard your voice. You were crying, you were so alone. You said your love had never died. You were waiting for me at home. I put on my jacket, I ran through the woods. Ran till I thought my chest would explode. There in the clearing, beyond the highway, in the moonlight, our wedding house shone. I rushed through the yard, I ran through the front door, my head pounding hard. Up the stairs I climbed. The room was dark, our bed was empty, and I heard that long whistle whine. Then I dropped to my knees, hung my head and cried. I swing a sledgehammer on a railroad gang, knocking down them cross ties, working in the rain. And it feels like I'm a rider on a downbound train.
I did it, you guys. I pretty much made it through. Let's do a softball poem corner, and then I'll take a few questions and some requests. This should be no surprise. I've picked a poem by my favorite poet, Steve Scafidi, to read. When am I going to find somebody new? I don't know. But I still love his poems so much. Here we go. This is a beautiful one. The West Virginia Copperwing. An apple falls through the branches of the tree, and a green snake rises up with little wings iridescent as the evening begins in the orchard on the edge of town. 3 deer whisper grazing in the lane. You could be 11 or 12, standing in a stillness you have never known before. A halo of gnats around your head, and this could be any year in recorded history of human life. No one exactly ever remembers this moment or the next. We find ourselves in a royal pause, and then we go on asking what's next. we fall towards sorrow and we forget. Someone captures the miraculous green snake with a net, pins it to a board. Someone sharpens a knife at the center of the earth and it sounds like a wheel. Houses appear. Thousands of windows twinkle suddenly in the settling dark. Stillness, which was the god of being 11 or 12 on the edge of town just before someone you love calls you home, and home being the god of this place, disappears. All of it disappears. And you are left lost in the majestic green clockwork that is next. Thank you, Steve Scafidi, and thank you, Soft Boy Poem Corner, for another edition. Let's take some, I'm going to head to the comments and let's take some requests or questions or whatever you want. Let's see. Got a request for Speak Plainly, Diana. Yeah, I can do Speak Plainly, Diana. Kind of an obvious choice, but I can do it. No problem. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's a good question. I'll play another song in a second. Who are some of your favorite musicians from the Prince George's County area or other part of Maryland? The really cool part about Prince George's County, Maryland, is we had a lot of guitar players come out of here. We had obviously John Fahey come out of here. We had a guy named Roy Buchanan come out of here, and I believe Nils Lofgren, who plays in Springsteen's band, is from around here. So I love all those guitar players. I think principally John Fahey would be the best in my favorite. Okay, let's do. Sure, Seth wants to hear The Flood in Color. Let's do it. As I begin to play these requests, if you're getting out of here, thank you very much for coming by. Thanks for everyone for being a part of this.
Clap of lightning, I awaken to a foot of water standing in my basement. Started rising, took me under. The flood is coming. This is not history in black and white now. In a perfect storm, there isn't any high ground. The end of childhood, the end of summer, the flood in color. They tried to warn me, I wouldn't listen. And now all at once I'm drowning in my kitchen. My legs are broken from treading water. The flood is coming, the flood is coming. I tried to bargain, I tried to reason, but the sky was deaf, the rain was never ceasing. It's not some cheap bed I can cover. The flood in color, the flood in color. So listen close now. I was dead wrong to think that things could work themselves out in the long run. Pay attention, heed the thunder. The flood is coming, the flood in color.
Thank you for the request, Seth. Okay, I'm going to do one more. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Thank you for listening. Thanks if you can. Always love it when you kick into the virtual tip jar down here or buy a ticket to the show. That always helps. If not, no problem. It's no skin off my teeth either way. But we do appreciate folks who help out. Let's see. Let's do one last. Oh, man, I wish I did know the Dylan song, Idiot Win. Thank you for the compliment, Heidi. I appreciate it. Guys, oh no, well, for those of you who left, I don't know what happened there, but if you're here, still here, I don't know what happened there technically, but I'm just going to play one last song for those of you who are left. And I think it's only fitting that I end with the cover that I do the most, and that is this song by Harvey Thomas Young.
From deep dark wells comes pure clean water, and the ice will melt as the day gets hotter and the night grows old, as the sun climbs into the sky. Well, now here's then, and tomorrow's coming, and where you've been starts meaning something. As long as you can, just keep stumbling ahead. And as long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. You can start all over again. From deep dark wells comes pure clean water, and the ice will melt as the day gets hotter and the night grows old, as the sun climbs into the sky. And as long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. You can start all over again.
Guys, thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for helping out. I'm going to continue to do these shows, but I think there's going to be a version 2.0 of these concerts coming up that I've been working very hard on that I can't wait for you to see. So I'll be in touch about that really soon. And yeah, thanks so much. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time. Peace.